It has been a tough year for all of us. The COVID-19 has upended traditions and placed festivities on hold. But despite the challenges we've faced, a ravaging pandemic which dampened the light across the country and the world to a series of typhoons, we are still here trying to build back better. And in today's episode, we give you stories of hope and courage as we celebrate Christmas. Pampanga shines bright as local Christmas lantern makers brave the COVID-19 pandemic to showcase their work. Tarlaceños prove their resilience and hopefulness amid various challenges in this year's Belenismo. Gifts to keep our loved ones healthy and safe from COVID-19, a trendy and timely way to spread cheer this Christmas. And here are the stories of Filipinos spending Christmas separated from their families by distance and COVID-19. Pampanga is known as the Christmas capital of the Philippines because of its gigantic lanterns. Amid the crisis that the world faces today, festive star lanterns to feel the spirit of Christmas. In San Fernando City, the COVID-19 pandemic forced the changes of the competition in this year's Giant Lantern Festival. Craftsmen and local officials have turned to creative ways to celebrate the tradition. Here is our report.
What is Filipino Christmas without even a simple, small lantern hanging on the windows, on the doors, and top of your Christmas tree? One decoration that is always present is the Christmas lantern, made in the shape of a star that led the three Magi to Jesus Christ in Bethlehem. As years passed by, these simple Christmas lanterns evolved into colorful ones in different sizes and shapes, while retaining the symbolism that comes with them. The city of San Fernando in Pampanga, made famous by their giant lanterns, was dubbed as the Christmas capital of the Philippines. For 112 years now, this parol has given hope to the people even at desperate times. Just as the coronavirus pandemic has claimed so many lives and brought fear to people, the lanterns are shimmering even from afar to say it's Christmas and soon everything will be okay. This year, the rules for the Giant Christmas Lantern Festival is modified by the City Tourism Office. Instead of a competition, the City Tourism, together with the organizers and the stakeholders, agreed to hold an exhibition so as not to break the tradition. 7 barangays decided to join the Giant Parol Festival. Edmar David has been joining the festival for 16 years. He said despite most of the barangay budget being spent in anti-COVID activities and in helping the people, they still managed to come up with their parol.
Tradisyon na namin to, di namin pwedeng putulin or tigilan. Kailangan every year gumagawa kami ng parol. Para sa atin to sa mga tao.
For their parol, Edmar said that they used about 3,000 bulbs, and in sync with the music, the lights of their parol start to come to life. Edmar said that even with the COVID-19 pandemic, they did not hesitate to join the festival.
Lalo kaming malulungkot pagka hindi kami sumali. Dahil ito yung nagbibigay sa amin kapag tuwing Pasko, darating na Pasko. Yun lang, may new normal, social distancing sa mga tao. Yun lang yung dapat sundin natin, yung health protocol lang yung kailangan natin gawin.
Edmar's sister Angelica shared that she grew up seeing her father and older brothers building giant lanterns. Angelica said that even with the COVID-19 pandemic, Christmas will continue to be celebrated for her, coming from a family of lantern makers. She offers the bright, colorful lights of their lantern to Jesus, who is the reason for the celebration.
Gawa rin po na isa po akong pamilyang gumagawa ng parol. So parang na-adapt ko rin po yung ginagawa ng mga kuya ko po.
Despite the pandemic, people still come to Pampanga to buy their Christmas lanterns. Cherry Ann Macapar and Josephine Del Rosario came all the way from Bataan to buy their perfect parol. Cherry Ann said that this is their first Christmas in the country after so many years and that they would like to show their children who grew up in Abu Dhabi how Christmas is in the Philippines.
Christmas po hindi naman nawawalang dapat ang spirit ng Christmas, lalo ngayong pandemic, kailangan natin si Jesus.
Josephine meanwhile said that even a simple celebration would do. The more important thing is that it is celebrated with the whole family.
Pwede naman tayo mag-celebrate ng yung less gathering na lang talaga. Kasi di ba, ang ngayon, kailangan may social distancing kasi nga dahil sa virus
Several beautiful, colorful Christmas lanterns are lined up along MacArthur Highway in San Fernando, Pampanga to greet every visitor that comes to the city this holiday season. Marie Capis, one of the lantern vendors in San Fernando, said that there are still people buying from them even with the pandemic. Because several people rely on lantern making for their livelihood, she said that the shop owner eventually decided that they open and sell lanterns.
Minsan po kasi sinasabi ng mga bumibili, kumbaga pag nakakita daw po sila ng parol, parang nabubuhayin po sila ng loob na kahit may ganyang sitwasyon po tayo, parang nakakaluwag-luwag din po. Tsaka parang yun na lang po magiging pag-asa nila yung ilaw ng parol.
Chris Fernandez, another lantern vendor, said that customers started coming in as early as September. Surprisingly, they still have many customers coming from outside of Pampanga, even from Metro Manila, Isabela, and Bicol.
Ayos naman po, sa awa ng Diyos. Marami pa naman tumatangkilik sa parol. Yung diwa ng Pasko, yung spirit of Christmas nandun pa rin.
Chris said that he believes that the bright, happy lights from their lanterns help uplift the spirit of the people. He said that whatever happens, no matter how many storms come our way, Filipinos will always be celebrating Christmas.
Kung wala kasi yung mga pailaw na ganyan, parang yung spirit of Christmas, parang pinapatay mo yung traditional na talaga Kaya nandito naman kami para ibalik pa rin yung traditional ng Pasko.
This year's Lantern Festival is special as it is their way of giving thanks for surviving the challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. That is why Pampangueños opted to continue the tradition amid the pandemic. From the Christmas capital of the Philippines, this is Marita Muaje for the PNA Newsroom.
Health protocols are in place for the celebration of the Aguinaldo Masses tonight and tomorrow morning. This as experts warn of a surge in COVID-19 cases this holiday season. CBCP President Davao Archbishop Romulo Valle said Vigil Mass of Christmas may be celebrated from 6 p.m. and the last Mass today will take the liturgy of the Midnight Mass of Christmas. Dawn Masses may also be celebrated tomorrow. There will be no kissing or touching of image at this time of pandemic. Instead, families are encouraged to bring their family image of the infant Jesus during the Christmas Masses. Meanwhile, religious gathering in areas under the General Community Quarantine or GCQ remains only up to 30% and 50% in areas under the Modified General Community Quarantine or MGCQ. Minimum health protocols must be strictly implemented, such as wearing a face mask and face shields, physical distancing, availability of hand hygiene necessities on the premises. Travel restrictions and limited gatherings were among the things we were expecting this holiday season. But what about the food? They say the Philippines has the world's longest Christmas season and some of the most unique festive dishes to go along with it. There will always be that very special dish that you and your loved ones would serve on the table. And not even the pandemic can stop that family tradition. For today, let us see what our kababayans are serving on their tables.
Yung mga pansit po,
spaghetti, mga prutas, tapos may mga macaroni po, mga ganun lang po.
Ano po yung mga hindi mawawala sa handaan?
Hamon, tsaka queso di bola po.
Siguro spaghetti kasi yun ang gusto ng mga anak ko. Saka kunti lang siguro, tsaka salad, yun lang.
Ang palaging hinahanap ng mga bata ay spaghetti, tinapay at soft drinks. Kaya ang lulutuin ko ay spaghetti ngayong Pasko.
Spaghetti, graham, cake, sa lumpia.
Dahil sa pandemic ngayon, hindi mawawala ang pansit dahil mura eh.
Siguro chicken, gulay, gano'n. Kasi yun ang yung matataas ang sugar sa bahay kaya Oo.
Simple lang. Kung ano yung kayang bilhin, siguro kung ano yung binigay ng opisina.
Still to come, Tarlaceños proved their resilience and hopefulness amid various challenges in this year's Belenismo. Check out gift ideas that will keep your loved ones healthy and safe from COVID-19 this Christmas. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Masiram na Pasko po sa Satuya Gamos.
Malipayon nga Pasko.
Sa darating na Pasko, mayroon pa bang pangregalo? Mayroon bang panghanda sa Noche Buena? Kahit simple lang basta't pamilya'y salo-salo. Ating gunitain, mensahe ng Pasko. Tuloy ang Paskong Pinoy sa puso ng bawat isa. Ano man ang pagsubok, di dapat sukuan. Bangon, 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 Pilipino, at ating ipagdiwang. Ligtas na Kapaskuhan.
Gikan sa Bukidnon State University, Tarlac Satellite Campus. Maayong Pasko ug maayong bagong tuig.
Tarlac's Belenismo brings hope amid the pandemic. Tarlac's giant Belens depicting the birth of Jesus Christ brings hope amid the hopeless status that we are in because of the COVID-19 pandemic. A light at the end of the tunnel as the year comes to an end, looking forward to humanity's redemption. Marita Mawahe has this story.
Christmas comes to Tarlaceños through the different shapes, sizes, and colors of their Belen. Through the glittering colors depicting the Christmas nativity scene, the giant Belens of Tarlac brings hope, a respite amid the threat of the dreaded COVID-19 pandemic. Tarlaceños' resiliency was tested by this year's Belenismo, a festival that gave the province the title of Belen Capital of the Philippines. It seemed that the current COVID-19 pandemic was not enough. The livelihood of Tarlaceños also got hit by the African swine fever or ASF. The province was also lashed by the recent typhoons Rolly and Ulysses, destroying some of their Belens. But these people, resilient and as flexible as bamboo, will never give up. The town of Moncada built a huge, colorful Belen right in front of their town hall, depicting love, peace, unity, faith, and hope, with a huge angel unfurling its wings over all.
These are the frontliners, angels in disguise that were sent by God to help us address the problem of COVID and the many challenges that we encountered this year.
Since the time Belenismo started in Tarlac, the town of Moncada never missed joining the event.
For this year, on the 13th year, it took us time to decide kung magpuput up kami. Kasi nga because of the many challenges, yung napaka-gastos, malaking gastos ng LGU because of the COVID. So ang aming mga pondo, kinancel namin lahat ang aming mga activities for this year. No? And we concentrated on the expenses on COVID. Kasi hindi mo alam talaga kung ano yung the magnitude of the expenses. No?
At 6 p.m., the lights for the Belen are turned on, drawing in passers-by to stop, appreciate the structure, take some selfies, and make them feel it's Christmas.
Kapag may mga design po ng mga like parols, Christmas lights, nakikita ko po kasi mas nagbibigay po siya ng joy sa mga kabataan ngayong Pasko.
Nang nangyayari, ito yung magiging way para maging positive yung pag-iisip ng mga tao. Isipin nila na kahit anong mangyari, may mga positive na nangyayari pa rin sa atin.
We have to maintain our faith in God, no? And also we want peace. We have to spread love among our people. We have to be inspired, you know, with this Belen. Hope that tomorrow will be a better days for all of us. And then charity, because we have to share.
The parish of St. Michael the Archangel in San Miguel Tarlac has set up a very traditional Belen with a twist. Father Hector Pamintuan placed a mural with pictures of fallen frontliners inviting everyone to say a prayer for their souls. He also placed a frontliners quarter with standees of frontliners that bravely served the public. For most of 2020, Father Hector said that people only talked about the COVID-19 pandemic and the fear of contracting it or losing a loved one. This season, he said that he wants their Belen to reflect hope and make people realize that COVID-19 should not overshadow the spirit of the season. Father Hector said that the spirit of Christmas for most Christian is a spirit of liberation, a spirit of happiness because Jesus came to save humanity.
Perhaps we can call it somehow providential, so much so people will actually pay attention on God because with the many things that happened in the world, people tend to neglect the spiritual part of our life. Perhaps the Lord would want to remind us, hey, you should not only remember me, you should only acknowledge me when times get rough. Dapat sa kaligayahan, dapat sa kasayahan, sa tagumpay, dapat naalala mo rin ako.
He added that what we are experiencing right now may also be providential because it made us realize that no pandemic, no typhoons, and no problem can put us down.
If you want to be desperate in life, count your disgraces. Count all the things that you don't have in life. Magiging desperate ka. But if you begin to count all your blessings in life, para sa akin, mas maraming grasya kesa sa disgrasya because God cannot be outdone in generosity because our God is a gracious God.
The pandemic and all the other catastrophes that came is a perfect reminder for all of us that amidst this crisis, there is hope. And the best to pin our hope is no other than our Lord Jesus Christ. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Muaje.
Are you among the holiday shoppers seeking out meaningful holiday gifts like personal items or even handmade goods? Well, we're pretty sure you're thinking something that's safe and offers a much-needed emotional boost. In this report, the Health Department gives us a tip.
Health is definitely the best gift we can give to ourselves and our loved ones amid the raging health crisis.
That's according to the Department of Health, which provided gift suggestions that can help prevent COVID-19 transmissions. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III encourages everyone to be creative when it comes to gift giving and focus on items that promote health and wellness. Among his suggestions are giving face masks and face shields, as well as healthy food, fruits, exercise gadgets, and do-it-yourself items that will limit one's trip to the malls. When giving gifts to kids, Duque said always ensure that it is safe for them and check the warning label on kids' toys. He suggests giving personalized gifts like handmade cards, arts, crafts, or a video. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
From health crisis to calamities, the country has grappled with several adversities this year. Some people had to live through these situations, but despite the hardships, hope still lives on for them. Joy Scudis has the story.
When Typhoon Ulysses struck parts of the country on November 11, the districts of Tumana, Malanday, and Nangka of Marikina were among those covered with mud in the aftermath. The victims said it was like a flashback of what happened during Typhoon Ondoy in 2009. Gina Tinidoro was a victim of the recent flooding. Her two-story house in Barangay Tumana was covered with flood waters up to the second floor, and most of their belongings were damaged beyond saving. Tinidoro and her 4 children have only relied on her husband's meager income as a mason for their daily needs. On December 4, her husband died due to heart and lung complications. Tinidero later on received financial assistance from several government agencies such as the National Housing Authority and the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Bebe Almodiente was also left jobless, leaving the fate of her 2 children in the hands of generous people, distributing food and financial aid in their area as well as the local government. Her husband also found it hard to look for a construction job during the pandemic. Both Tinidero and Almodiente said they are asking for help from the government so they could start a new livelihood. Chuchi Foundation Philippines, a Buddhist humanitarian organization, encouraged residents to help their community through a Cash for Work program. Cash for Work incentivizes every community to clean up homes and neighborhoods by paying each participant 1,000 pesos a day if they are cleaning their own homes.
Nga po, yung binigyan kami ng Chuchi, binigyan po kami ng NHA, binigyan po kami ng DSWD.
Typhoon Ulysses is the deadliest and most destructive tropical cyclone to hit the Philippines this year. That's why this Christmas, a simple meal amongst family, the compassion of kind people, and the support of the government are what keeps them clinging onto hope.
Maging sagana kami itong Pasko, ngayong Pasko na to. At unti lang, pagsalasaluhan namin mag-iina. Doon lang po, masaya na ako, ma'am.
For the PNA Newsroom, I am Joy Scudis.
Up next, hear the stories of Filipinos spending Christmas separated from their families and distanced by COVID-19. And what are Filipinos giving their loved ones this Christmas? We find out the word on the street. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Pasko sa Vietnams. Push na kasangkapan kang Philippine News Agency ang sabuyang pagbati. Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year sa Indo Gabos. I congratulate you for being part of national development and bringing news na makatotohanan as in puno ng impormasyon para mas magiyahan ang satuyang mga kababayan.
Ilabas niyo na inyong mga Christmas tree. Isabi na ang parol at iba pang palamuti. Dahil heto na
gikan sa tribal capital of Bukidnon and home of the country's finest cowboys, Impasugong Bukidnon. Kami nanimbaya og malipayong Pasko o ulahang bagong tuig kaninyong tanan. Magbuliga koy!
Our kababayans abroad have been among those hard hit by the pandemic. Some of them were forced to come home due to business shutdowns, while others continue to toil just to put food on the table. Joyce Kudis tells us the sacrifices overseas Filipinos need to make, the hurdles they need to overcome, and how they turn to creative and inspiring ways to celebrate Christmas.
Despite the health crisis, Filipinos abroad willingly shared how some of life's biggest blessings are born out of their hardest challenges. One of them is 54-year-old Raven Osorio, who works as an engineer for 27 years in different parts of the world, including Saudi Arabia, Russia, Malaysia, South Korea, and now in Japan. His journey of being an overseas Filipino began when his older brother died, and he stepped up to be the kuya for his 4 other siblings. Eventually, he also had a family of his own, which prompted him to continue working abroad. For now, the pandemic has left Osorio temporarily out of work, but the Japanese government is providing for his monthly stipend, covering at least 60% of his previous income.
Simple lang, we'll have, me and my daughter will have dinner outside. We haven't fixed our plan yet, but of course, either kaming dalawa and with the family, of course, in the Zoom or Facebook.
Osorio said there are a lot of happenings in the world that may distract a person, and the key to remain grounded is to keep the focus on one's family.
Actually, since April up to now, so that's 7-8 months. Yeah, I'm actively applying. Pero mahirap din kasi talaga dahil ang daming nawalan ng trabaho. Hindi lang Pinoy, kahit mga Japanese, yung mga nawawalan ng work. Dahil lahat naman ng industry apektado talaga. Especially yung hotel, restaurants, and the tourism industry, just like in the Philippines, di ba?
Meanwhile, 25-year-old Janzel Villacarte has been in New Jersey, USA for 5 years. Apart from her mass communication degree in the Philippines, Villacarte decided to take up nursing in New York as she plans to settle in the States with her mother. For her, a simple dinner shared with family after attending the Holy Mass would be a delightful Christmas.
I was in the process of doubting myself during the job hunting. Luckily, I found one, and it was not easy either. As a pediatric nurse, I had to be there not only for my patients, but also for their parents. I had to provide emotional support. The term patient care was given a new meaning during this time. I coped by thinking it is a big opportunity to be able to give service to these people during this challenging time. It's very rewarding.
For 27-year-old seafarer Marian Florentino, spending his days at sea is similar to being quarantined. He said the life of a seafarer is already filled with uncertainties, but much more during the pandemic. For this year, he said he will share Christmas with his shipmates, and he will just do a video call with his family if the internet signal allows.
Challenges. First is travel. Padulong kog Manila, my flight was rebooked thrice. First Air Asia and then Cebu Pacific. We cope by being patient. What can we do? We are at the pandemic's mercy.
Another kababayan also left her career in the Philippines to settle abroad. 31-year-old journalist Rhea Bragas moved to Australia in 2018 to study culinary. Bragas said relocating to a different country was a decision she pondered on for over a year.
We are so blessed to have a job during the pandemic. Giving up and going home was never an option. Everything is still working out for us. Now I ended up having 3 jobs, and I am so grateful for it.
Everything for her was a learning opportunity when she finally arrived in Sydney. Braga studied culinary and hospitality management while working as an apprentice chef and being a correspondent for a Filipino channel. However, the pandemic left her jobless, but soon she found a job in Sydney Transport. Braga said work is life is her mantra, and she is planning to spend her Christmas at work.
If you are working in the hospitality industry, it is expected that you will spend your Christmas and New Year working, giving the customers the best dining experience that they can have. But I won't mind at all because I can still enjoy watching the fireworks during the New Year in the most beautiful harbor in the world. It's just a matter of perspective. We just need to carry on with life.
For the PNA Newsroom, I am Joyce Goodies.
Soldiers continue to serve the country even while paying the ultimate sacrifice in the fight against COVID-19. For them, serving others is their way of giving hope amid this trying time. More on this from Laid Kabagani.
As the most of us find ways to connect and celebrate this Christmas season, soldiers who are among those on the front line in the fight against the pandemic continue to provide services for Filipinos. Apart from securing the country and protecting the people, soldiers have been visible in the country's fight against COVID-19. They are also involved in the response and rescue efforts during calamities. Airman 2nd Class Charles Albert Kaayaman, a native from Bohol, said he could not come home to his family in the province for Christmas due to the pandemic. However, he said it will not be a huge sacrifice for him. Kaayaman said the challenges posed by the health crisis and the recent typhoons could be a reminder of a true reason as to why we celebrate Christmas. He added that the true meaning of the Yuletide season for soldiers is filling the empty containers with their service for the country and the people.
Laking bagay na yun sa amin na masasabi namin na yung hindi namin pag-uwi ay mas nakatulong pa kami sa ating mga kababayan dahil nandyan kami handang tumugon sa anumang mga pangangailangan.
Lieutenant Jeremy Remejia, a native of Zamboanga City, said being on the front line during the pandemic is part of the soldiers' commitment to serving the nation. Remejia said the soldiers will make the most out of the Christmas despite the prevailing health crisis.
We are with our fellow soldiers and we will be celebrating naman with Christmas, and this is one big family for us. We share the camaraderie and spirit of Christmas, and at the same time we are also exercising our safety in consideration naman po sa COVID case natin.
President Rodrigo Duterte on Monday expressed his admiration for soldiers for their crucial role in the government's fight against the pandemic. During the founding anniversary of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Duterte praised the military for its 85 years of selfless service to the nation.
On behalf of the grateful nation, I express my most profound gratitude to you for your willingness to serve at the front lines as our nations face these natural disasters, calamities, and global pandemic.
For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Laid Kabagani.
Though health and safety remain as top priority during the coronavirus pandemic, the side effects of social distancing, well, it can be quite harsh. Limitations and restrictions can feel overwhelming, but sending someone you love a small gift during this trying time can be a meaningful expression of kindness. Let's find out what gifts Filipinos are sending their loved ones this Christmas.
Regalo ako ng mga anak ko, mga damit, yung mga gusto nilang damit, pinamili ko na.
Wala, konting bigay-bigay lang, gano'n.
Dasal lang, kasi lahat tayo may ngayon, dasal lang na walang magkakasakit, ilayo sa disgrasya, lalo sa pandemic natin ngayon.
Yung mga simpleng For example, yung mga damit, t-shirts, yung mga pangangailangan lang din nila.
Ito po, bili ko lang sa kapatid ko. Binigyan ko po ng ng damit. Regalo lang po.
Very simple things yung mga gagamitin araw-araw kasi pandemic hindi naman nakakalabas sa mga usually damit, tsinelas, mga gano'n lang.
Yung mga nagagamit po to like alcohol, ganon. Tapos po yung mga gamit sa bahay.
Let's take another look at today's stories. Pampanga shines bright as local Christmas lantern makers brave the COVID-19 pandemic to showcase their work. Tarlaceños proved their resilience and hopefulness amid various challenges in this year's Belenismo. Gifts to keep our loved ones healthy and safe from COVID-19, a trendy and timely way to spread cheer this Christmas. And here are the stories of Filipinos spending Christmas separated from their families by distance and COVID-19. Thank you for joining us this Christmas at the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news stories, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on PTV4 and IBC 13. And as the year comes to a close, I'd like to give a short message to everyone. In this generation, I never really thought that we would experience a pandemic. Nobody was ready, and all of us were affected in our own little way. But one of the most important things that I learned is no matter what part of the globe you live in, whatever your age or nationality is, we're all here in this together, and we were able to help each other, we were able to share information, and for once, seems like everybody was working together as a team. Although it is difficult, we have lessons to learn from this pandemic, and I believe that if we learn what we're supposed to learn, we'd be able to channel it and be able to become better people. As always, if it does not really kill you, it can only make you stronger, as the cliche says. So I'm wishing everybody a very, very happy holiday. Let us stay safe and let us always remember the real reason why we are here, especially the Christmas season. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. We tell stories that bring holiday cheer and inspire change. Once again, this is William Theo. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and see you all again next week.
Sa atin, liwanag ng buhay, Jesus. Ikaw, aming pag-asa ngayong Pasko. At sa bawat umaga,
sa gitna